Okay, so it's a very short config file, but it's got some important variables here that are necessary. So database type is going to be a MySQL database. Um, database default Cacti, right, is the default name. So it's going to look for a database name called Cacti, and then the default username will be Cacti user, and the database password, you could put in a password here, and this password just says Cacti user, and you could make it your own private password right here. So I'll just keep these default settings. So now in PHP my admin, okay, I'm going to create a database called Cacti. So now I have a database called Cacti, and then under privileges I'm going to need a user for this, right? So I need to create a user. So I'll say add new user, and I'll say Cacti user, right? And locally, it's going to work locally only, and the password will be also Cacti user. Okay, I think that worked. And grant all privileges on database Cacti. All right. All privileges on database Cacti, and click go. And so now I'm good. So now I have created the database and the user in PHPMyAdmin that I need according to the default on the config file in Cacti, the config.php file. Right, so I just kind of just mimicked it. You could always go back and you could change this later. But of course, if you change this, if you change the config file, you need to make sure that you change your database permissions as well to match your config file. Okay, so now that that is working, let's go back to our website, right? Localhost, which means it's going to our local web server, our Apache web server, inside a folder called Cacti, which is where Cacti lives. And we'll hit refresh, and we'll see if it can load it, right? And we're waiting, and we end up getting a blank screen. And this is a problem that we had in class where we got this blank screen and then we had to troubleshoot it in class, and it was pretty interesting. Steve did a great job on troubleshooting this and figuring out what happened, so we'll share that with you right now. Basically, if we go up one folder, right, let me clear this. So I'm in the include folder, which is in the Cacti folder. So I'm going to go up one folder, right? I'm in Cacti. I'll do an ls. This is everything in the Cacti folder. You'll see that the cacti.sql file, which needs to get imported into MySQL, into the database, right? All this information, these have all the tables that we need to populate our database with in MySQL Server, are in this cacti.sql file. So let's take a quick look at it. So what we'll do is we will do a gedit on it. Okay, and open it up. And in here, we noticed that, or Steve noticed, that it said here type equals myESAM and myISAM, and that if we change all those, then it will start working. So we need to find all instances where it says type equals myESAM and change it. So we'll do a find and replace, right? So we'll do a find and replace, search, find, and we want to do a find and replace. So let's see here. Replace. Search for type equals and replace with engine equals. All right. And that looks correct. And I'll put a semicolon on there, and I'll replace it with the semicolon 2 and replace all. And you can see here that it's replaced that. And I'll close it and hit File, Save. Right? So we've just changed the cacti.sql file. Didn't back up the file first, which is probably not good practice. But this is just for test's sake anyway. And then we'll hit refresh, and we should get a connection now. Okay, after trying to get this to work and looking at the cacti config.php file and the cacti.sql file and changing type equals myesam to engine equals myesam, still when we opened up browser and we've got our database created in phpMyAdmin, we've got the correct user, and then when we try to bring up cacti, we get nothing, right? So what do you do then? Well, in the terminal window, I've done a couple of things. First of all, I did a I'll show you what I did. The first thing I did, let me clear this just to clear that. The first thing I did is do an update db, and I did a sudo update db, right, to index the files so I can search for them with a locate command. Then I did a locate Apache piped grep anything with log in it, and I found that my error log is var /log /apache2 /error.log. So then I'll clear that again. Then what I did was did a cat of /var /log /apache2 /error.log file. So look at my error log for Apache2, piped it to more, and what I can see here is in this output I'm seeing a lot of things that are trying to write memory to cacti lib adodb or adodb.inc.php, right? So it's failing on this adodb, right? adodb.inc.php. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I've got that tool related to PHP. So I'm going to do an apt-get install of php5-adodb, and looks like I didn't have it, right? So that could be crucial. So now that I have it, what I want to do is I want to restart Apache. So I'm just going to go through these commands here, and then there it is, sudo /etc /init.d /apache2 space restart, and restart Apache. Now if I go to my browser, maybe it'll fire up. Hit refresh, and we'll see if it comes up this time. Nope. Back to the drawing board.